What's going on, guys? My name is Jaden and welcome back to the NBA team preview series. Today we are going over some of the teams in the Wild West. That includes the Dallas Mavericks, the Denver Nuggets, and of course, my Golden State Warriors. So let's just get straight into it. Let's start with the Dallas Mavericks. So I think the Dallas Mavericks are due for a very interesting season. 1 year removed off of the Luka Doncic trade, which means we're going to get a full year of no Luka Doncic in Dallas for the first time since he was drafted. It also means a full year of Anthony Davis. Some of the notable roster changes are D'Angelo Russell, and they even signed Dennis Smith Jr. Oh yeah, and they drafted this guy named Cooper Flagg. I just don't want Nico Harrison to look like a genius after the move, like the bold move he just pulled last year. Look, Anthony Davis is a great player, but I think we can all agree, or most people, any sane person would agree with this, that Luka Doncic is way better and is someone that you should be hanging on to as a franchise cornerstone for like a decade to come. And they gave that away. That trade is probably the most shocking trade in NBA history, Luka being sent to the Lakers. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you see moves where like guys like Shea turn into Shea, or guys like Tatum and Brown turn into Tatum and Brown, but we've never seen a already bona fide MVP caliber player, someone who is a franchise player and the cornerstone of a franchise, get moved like that. I've never seen that in my life. I'm sure that you guys haven't either. It's going to be a weird season for the Mavericks, only because no Kyrie Irving. But I'm definitely interested to see what they do, because I think this team, despite giving up Luka, I think that their window is still open for right now. And then obviously they have a future because of the maybe not generational, but because of the talent that they picked up in Cooper Flagg. There are a few things we have to look out for when it comes to the Mavericks this year. And I think one of them is just like, what is Cooper Flagg's rookie season going to look like? What kind of numbers is he going to put up? Is he going to look like he's ready for the league right now? Which I think he is ready for the league right now. Like, I think right out of the gates on opening night, this guy will be able to produce at an NBA level. He might struggle with efficiency, as all rookies do, but I think he's going to be able to provide both offensively and defensively. What kind of season is Cooper Flagg going to have? Is he going to average 15, 12, 20 even? Close to a double-double, maybe a block, maybe a steal? And how does he look alongside guys like Anthony Davis? I don't think there's a ton of pressure on Flagg this year, because I don't know if there's a ton of expectation for the Mavericks in general without Kyrie Irving, which I think is almost a perfect situation for him, because he can just be plugged into a position where he is on a championship contending team already, but without Kyrie Irving, he has the chance to flourish, like fully flourish. Anthony Davis is a guy who needs the ball, but he doesn't necessarily have like a high usage rate the same way a Kyrie Irving has. Because Anthony Davis is someone that you feed, whereas Kyrie is someone who like always has the ball in his hands and is always controlling the tempo and the motion of the offense. I think we could see a little bit of Cooper Flagg at point guard this year. And I think it will be cool to see, like, how does he look as a point forward? How does he look as a forward? How does he look as like a power forward? If they ever choose to like slide AD to the center, which I honestly don't think they will because of how much he doesn't like playing that position. But yeah, I think that Cooper Flagg is obviously, all eyes are on him this year. I think that is the thing to look for. I don't think that we have to have insanely high expectations for the Dallas Mavericks. But that being said, I actually do think they're still a good team in a very loaded West, which is kind of interesting. Obviously, the second storyline for this team is just Kyrie Irving. Does Kyrie Irving come back this year? If Kyrie Irving comes back, when is that? If he doesn't come back, what does that look like for the team? Are they still a playoff team? I think so. I think he's fast tracking his recovery process a little bit. That being said, if we see Kyrie this season, I don't think it'll be till after the All-Star break, kind of similar to what I was saying about Jason Tatum in the Boston Celtics preview. But if Kyrie comes back, like, the Dallas Mavericks are a team that definitely need to be watched, because I think that Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis is enough to keep them in the playoff hunt, or at least like in the middle of the pack of the Western Conference, to give Kyrie time to come back. I like the Mavericks. It's cool that they're relevant and they're good. And that they have a really interesting team. But man, does it annoy me that it looks like Nico Harrison is some sort of genius if he is able to pull this off, only because they got lucky enough to get the number 1 pick. Overall for this team, I think that we could definitely see them being a 7 or an 8 seed, to be honest. I think it all kind of rides on Kyrie Irving. I think the West is loaded as usual, and I think that that's why they kind of hang lower to the bottom. Maybe I'm lower on them than other people are, and maybe I'm higher on them than other people are. But I could definitely see them being a play-in team and sneaking into the playoffs once that comes around. But again, it all kind of falls on Kyrie Irving. So those are my thoughts on the Dallas Mavericks. Let's move on to the next Western Conference team, which I think people are kind of sleeping on, and that's the Denver Nuggets. All right, so the Denver Nuggets. I do think people are sleeping on them a little bit. Last year, they didn't make it to the Western Conference Finals. They lost to OKC, the eventual champions, in the semifinals, but they took them to 7 games. The Denver Nuggets got rid of Michael Porter Jr., and they brought in Cam Johnson. They also brought back Bruce Brown, who was a part of that team in 2021 when they won the championship. I think Michael Porter Jr. is a better player than Cam Johnson, but I think Cam Johnson is a better fit for the Denver Nuggets system. Cam Johnson will slide in perfectly beside Jokic and Jamal Murray, like perfectly. And I think it's going to work so much better than Michael Porter Jr., despite Michael Porter Jr. being a better player. I just think Michael Porter Jr. is a guy who really thrives off of high usage, more so than catch and shoot. Michael Porter Jr. is like, he's tall, he's athletic, but he doesn't defend at a level that Cam Johnson does. Like Cam Johnson is the perfect 3-and-D plug guy for this team. And he is going to spot up. He's going to hit shots. He's an efficient 3-point shooter. He's a good shooter. So is Michael Porter Jr., but Cam Johnson is an efficient shooter. And he's someone that's going to be perfect beside Jokic and Jamal Murray. He's going to defend. I really think the Nuggets are interesting this year, and I really think people need to stop sleeping on them. Bruce Brown, who is on that championship team, he's going to bring defense. He's going to bring grit. He's going to bring great bench depth. Again, another great pickup. Another guy I totally forgot about that they grabbed was Jonas Valanciunas, a very quality big backup for Nikola Jokic. Like JV is a good player. JV is a good player when you give him minutes. I think he'll be a great backup. I think that's kind of his role in this league here going forward. I think that Jokic could have another MVP type season. I think he's been putting up MVP type seasons for the past 4 or 5 years. So that's not like a hot take or anything surprising, but yeah, just watch for his numbers. I think we could see maybe a little bit of a dip in comparison to last year, only because I don't think he's going to play as much with a little bit more bench depth to this team. I also think that they want to preserve him and save him a little bit for the playoffs. That being said, I think he's going to be in the MVP running once again, and we're in for another great Nikola Jokic masterclass. Jamal Murray is a guy who I feel like is always slept on and underrated, and he's a dude who not only can put up numbers, but he's very clutch, and he's very important to this Nuggets team. Jokic will show up on a nightly basis, but they really need Jamal Murray to make the whole thing work and to really compete for a championship. My overall prediction for this team, you heard it here first, but I think they're going to fall into the 3 seed. I think that they are better than the other questionable teams in the West that are high seeds or would be competing for high seeds in the West. I think that they're deeper. I think that their chemistry flows a little bit better. I really think there's someone to watch out for this year. I think they're going to finish as a top 3 seed, most likely the 3 seed. And I think that they could definitely compete for a championship this season. It'll be super interesting. Like, I'm really interested in this team. It's kind of funny, like amongst the Western Conference teams, they're a little bit more of a slower sleep on them, a little bit boring at times. I used to talk to my dad about like how Jokic is one of the more boring superstars to watch in the league. This was a few years ago. He's definitely entertaining, and it's not that he's like bad or anything like that. It's just, unless he's doing flashy passes, his style of play is not like an Anthony Edwards or a Shea or a Steph Curry or a LeBron or a Wemby or a Kevin Durant. And there's no way I'm the only one who thinks like that. Anyway, moving on to the final team, my boys, the Golden State Warriors. Man, let's get it this season, bro. Let's take this UNC squad and let's compete for a championship. Let's talk about the roster moves for the Golden State Warriors. This one pains me to say because we haven't made moves like other teams have. But we picked up Al Horford, 39-year-old Al Horford. We finally got our center. We finally got our big. Let's get it. And we re-signed DeAnthony Melton. We picked up Seth Curry. That's going to be cool, actually. I'm excited to see the Splash Brothers, the real Splash Brothers. Nah, it's still Clay and Steph. But I'm excited to see the genetic Splash Brothers play together. That'll be fun and cool to see, Seth and Steph play on the same team. Let's talk about Horford for a second. I think Horford's a great player still. I do think that he's going to help us a lot. This, to me, is really a one-season ride with Al Horford. I feel like we're going all in terms of like, if it's not this season of us winning a championship, which I don't think it is, but if by chance we compete for a championship, I keep saying we in my Golden State Warriors, that's just my team. If there is a chance for Steph Curry to win one more ring, it has to be this season. I don't think it can go beyond this season. Al Horford's just getting older. Steph is getting older. Jimmy Butler's getting older. And yeah, we're riding this young squad this year. We have the youth on the bench, but if Curry is going to win another ring, it has to be this season. Yeah, I mean, I'm here for this team. I think they look good. I think there are 3 things to look out for this season when it comes to the Golden State Warriors. The first is, what kind of Jimmy Butler are we going to get? Is Jimmy Butler going to stay on the court? Is Jimmy Butler going to play like Miami Heat Jimmy Butler? And this is the first full season of Jimmy Butler with the Golden State Warriors. So it'll be really cool to see him with the guys and see what he's able to do throughout the whole regular season, because when we traded for him at the trade deadline, the Warriors really went up. So a full season of Jimmy Butler, I think, really gives them a chance to compete for a middle seed in the Western Conference. And it'll be really exciting to see Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry all season long. Again, it really just depends on his health, which leads to the second thing that we need to look out for this team is, can the guys stay on the floor? These older dudes who are going to be probably the starting 5 in Curry, Butler, Draymond, and Horford, and then probably Pods, maybe Buddy Hield. But in those 4 guys, can they stay on the floor? Can Steph Curry stay on the floor? Can Draymond stay on the floor and like stay out of trouble? Can Horford stay on the floor? I'm sure Horford's minutes are going to be in the 20s all season long until playoff time. Can Jimmy Butler stay on the floor? If these guys can stay on the floor, this team is really dangerous. The way that they talk about the Clippers in terms of like, if these guys stay healthy, this older squad, and I know the Warriors are older than the Clippers, but if these guys can stay healthy, they are a very dangerous team because of one guy, which is the last one to look out for, is Steph Curry. I don't know why, and I don't know if it's because like I'm just a huge Steph Curry fan. I really think Steph Curry's in for a big season this year. Almost like a last big season for Steph Curry. I don't think he's like going to be in the MVP race or anything like that. I don't know. I just have a hunch that Steph Curry's going to have a great season. I mean, he's always having great seasons. He's a great player. He's an all-time great. He's the greatest point guard of all time, in my opinion. Steph Curry is going to will this team to win alongside Jimmy Butler. I really think that this team, like the Nuggets, is getting slept on. I don't think they're as good as the Nuggets, but Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, anything can happen. And I think that Steph Curry is going to have an amazing season. As far as my prediction for this team, I hate to say it, but they're probably around the 7 to 8 spot. Like them pushing to 6 would really depend on teams like Minnesota, San Antonio, and we'll talk about all those teams when we get to them. But I think that they are a 7 or 8 seed, kind of where the Mavericks fall. And I do think we can get into the playoffs through the play-in. And when I say 7 or 8, like I view that as the floor kind of for this team. So I do think they're a playoff team pretty comfortably. And I think that they're getting a little bit slept on and a little bit disrespected. And then they just go from there once they get to the play-in spot. So there you have it. Those are some of the teams in the Wild West and some of my thoughts on those teams. This series is going to keep on going until we finish all 30 NBA teams. So make sure to stay tuned. Leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.